In this episode of QuickSpeak English, we're diving into something super cool, something I've been meaning to talk about for ages, household chores and family discipline, and how they're like totally linked to responsibility. It's fascinating, right?
Absolutely. And it's a really important topic, because it's not just about tidying up. It's about building character, teaching valuable life skills, and fostering a sense of contribution within the family unit. It's all interconnected, see?
So, where do we even begin? I mean, it seems like such a broad topic. Like, how does doing the dishes actually teach a child responsibility?
Well, see, it's not about the dishes themselves. It's about the process. First point, it teaches them the value of contributing to a shared space. They're learning that everyone's responsible for keeping things tidy and that their actions have consequences, like if they don't do their chores, things become messy and that impacts everyone.
Okay, I get that. But how do you actually get kids to want to do chores? Because, let's be real, kids aren't exactly known for their enthusiasm for housework.
That's true. And it's a common problem. The thing is, well, you need to make it age appropriate. Little ones can help with simple tasks, like picking up toys or helping set the table. Older kids can handle more complex chores, like doing laundry or mowing the lawn. And you need to, make it fun sometimes.
Fun? How do you make cleaning fun? That sounds impossible.
Haha, it's not that impossible. You can turn it into a game, Set a timer, see who can finish their chore fastest, offer small rewards, not necessarily materialistic stuff, but extra screen time or a special treat, things like that. And you have to consistently praise their efforts. Even small efforts deserve praise. And you need to, make it a habit. Consistency is key.
So it's about positive reinforcement, not punishment.
Exactly. Punishment is counterproductive. What you want is for your kids to actually want to do chores, not to dread them because they'll be punished if they don't. It's about building intrinsic motivation. And that's something that builds over time. It's a process. And you also need to be a good role model yourself. Kids learn by if they see you taking responsibility for your own tasks, and that includes household chores, they're more likely to follow suit.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's like teaching them a life skill while fostering a sense of responsibility and family unity all at the same time.
Precisely. And it's amazing how such seemingly small actions like folding laundry contribute to a child's sense of self-worth and accomplishment. They feel useful and part of the family team.
So what about discipline? How does that play into this? Because, discipline can feel tricky,
Discipline is key, and it's about setting clear expectations. Kids need to know what's expected of them and what the consequences are if they don't meet those expectations. But it's important to be consistent and fair in your approach. And communication is key. Talk to them about their actions and let them take ownership. It's not about punishment. It's about teaching them to learn from their mistakes. And it's not about being strict all the time. Sometimes, it's okay to cut them some slack.
Right. It's all about balance, isn't it? It's a delicate balance between structure and, flexibility. And what about dealing with sibling rivalry? Because that's a whole other ballgame, isn't it?
Oh, sibling rivalry. That's a whole other podcast, actually. But a key element in managing that is fair and consistent division of chores, making sure that everyone feels that they're being treated fairly and that they have their responsibilities. And mediation skills are crucial. You need to help them to resolve their conflicts, Teaching them how to communicate with each other and to compromise,
So it sounds like it's a bit more involved than I initially thought. It's not just about getting the chores done. It's about teaching life skills, right?
Exactly. It's about shaping them into responsible, contributing members of society, It's about building their character, preparing them for the future, and fostering a sense of, belonging within the family. It's all connected. It's a holistic approach. It's like baking a cake. You need all the ingredients to make it perfect, and chores and discipline are just some of the ingredients.
That's a great analogy. So, to sum things up, it's about making chores age appropriate, being consistent, using positive reinforcement, practicing good communication, and being a good role model.
Exactly. And remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time and patience, but it's so worth it. Watching your kids grow into responsible young adults, that's a reward in itself.
Totally. So, thanks so much for sharing all that, Lily. This has been really insightful. I feel like I have a much clearer understanding of this whole thing now.
My pleasure, Sophia. It's always fun talking about these things, and maybe next time we can tackle that sibling rivalry thing I mentioned. Ha! That'll be a real challenge.
Oh boy, that sounds interesting. Let's leave that for another episode of Quick Speak English, though. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time.
Other example.
So, I've got something super interesting for you today on Quick Speak English. We're diving into something that's like totally relevant for pretty much everyone. We're talking about household chores and family discipline.
Oh my goodness, Mary, you've picked such an amazing topic. I'm absolutely thrilled to share what I know about this because, it's something I've been studying and working with families on for years now.
I know you've done so much work in this area, and I'm really curious about how families can actually make this work in real life. Because, getting kids to help around the house isn't exactly the easiest thing.
That's exactly right. And the thing is, well, there's so much more to it than just getting the house clean, right? It's about, building character and teaching life skills that'll stick with them forever.
Oh, I can totally see that. And, I think our listeners are going to get so much value from your expertise on this. Like, who doesn't need help with getting their family more organized and responsible?
Absolutely. And I've got some really practical tips that I can't wait to share with everyone today. You know what I mean? This stuff really works, and it can transform how families function together.
You mentioned building character, Peter. Can you tell us more about how chores actually help with that? Like, what's really happening there?
Oh, absolutely. And it's fascinating because, when kids start doing chores, they're not just cleaning or tidying up. What's really happening is, and this is the amazing part, they're developing this incredible sense of capability, right?
What do you mean by capability exactly?
So, when a child completes a task, like, let's say making their bed or helping with the laundry, they're actually building this internal confidence that says, I can do things, I can contribute, and it's absolutely incredible because they start seeing themselves as, capable members of the family unit.
That's really interesting. And I guess it must affect how they see their role in the family.
Exactly. And here's the thing that's really fascinating. When kids participate in household tasks, they're learning these incredible life skills, right? They're learning about time management, and they're developing this understanding of how to break down bigger tasks into smaller steps. You know what I mean?
So, it's like they're getting ready for adult life in a way?
Oh my goodness, yes. And what's really amazing is that research shows children who start doing chores early, well, they tend to be more successful in their relationships, their careers, and even their academic life. They develop this amazing sense of responsibility that just carries through to everything they do.
Like, how early should parents start with this?
The fascinating thing is, you can start as early as 2 or 3 years old with super simple tasks. And what we see is that these early experiences, they literally shape the neural pathways in children's brains, helping them understand cause and effect, and developing their problem-solving skills. It's really quite remarkable.
Let's talk about something really practical here. What kinds of chores should parents actually, assign to different age groups?
Oh, this is, and I love this question because it's so important to get this right. For the little ones, like ages 2, 3, we're talking about really simple tasks, right? Like, and they can help put their toys away or, put their dirty clothes in the hamper.
That's younger than I would have thought. What about slightly older kids?
So for 4 5-year-olds, and this is where it gets really interesting. They can start doing things like helping to make their bed, feeding pets with supervision, and even helping to set the table. You know what I mean? They're developing more coordination at this age, right?
I see. And what about when they start elementary school?
Oh, that's when things get really exciting. Because and this is the amazing part. Kids around 6, 7 can start doing more independent tasks. Like they can sort laundry by color water plants and even help with simple food prep. You know, things like making their own sandwich or putting together their school lunch.
So, how do you know when they're ready for more complex stuff?
The key is, and this is really important to watch for signs of maturity and responsibility. Like around 8, 10, they can start doing things like vacuuming their room, loading the dishwasher, and even helping with basic cooking tasks. But here's the fascinating thing. Every child develops at their own pace, right?
What about teenagers? Like, what should we expect from them?
Oh, by the teenage years, and this is really amazing. They should be capable of doing pretty much any household task. You know, doing their own laundry completely independently, cooking simple meals, and even helping with more complex cleaning tasks. The important thing is, well, they need to understand these aren't just chores, they're life skills they'll need when they're living on their own.
Any tips for parents who are just starting to implement this?
Absolutely. And the most crucial thing is to start small and build up gradually. You know, demonstrate the task first and be really patient. It's better to have them do something imperfectly than not at all, right? And remember, positive reinforcement is absolutely key in making this work.
So let's dive into something really important here. How do we actually, set up a system that works for chores?
Oh, and this is actually one of my favorite parts to talk about. You know, there are so many amazing ways to organize chores, right? Like, and one of the most effective methods is using a chore chart system.
What exactly does a chore chart look like?
So, it's actually really cool. And you can make it super simple or more detailed. You know, it could be like a weekly calendar with tasks listed for each day, or even a magnetic board where kids can move tasks from to do to done. The important thing is, well, it needs to be really visual and easy to understand.
And what about rewards? Should parents use them?
This is such a great question. And you know what's fascinating about rewards? They can be really effective, but and this is super important, they need to be used carefully. Like maybe earning points that add up to special privileges or and this works really well. Having a special family activity when everyone completes their chores for the week.
So, how do parents stay consistent with all of this?
Oh, consistency is absolutely key. And here's the thing. You need to establish clear expectations from the start. Like, make sure everyone knows exactly what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and what the consequences are if tasks aren't completed. You know what I mean?
What happens if the system starts to, break down?
Well, that's totally normal. And this is really important to understand. Systems need regular updates and tweaks, like maybe the current schedule isn't working, or some tasks are too challenging. The key is, well, being flexible enough to adjust while still maintaining those core expectations, right? And remember, open communication with your kids about what's working and what isn't is absolutely essential.
What about when kids just, flat out refuse to do their chores? I mean, that must be pretty common, right?
Oh my goodness, yes. And this is something parents struggle with all the time, right? Like resistance is totally normal. And actually it's kind of part of the process. You know what I mean?
How do parents usually deal with that kind of pushback?
So here's what's really interesting. The key is understanding why they're resisting in the first place. Like sometimes it's because the task feels too overwhelming, or maybe they just don't see the point. And what works really well is breaking down bigger tasks into smaller, more manageable steps.
What about when they say things are, boring or unfair?
That's such a common response. And you know what I've found works really well? Making it fun, like turning it into a game or setting up little challenges. You can put on some music, set a timer, and make it feel less like a chore and more like an activity. The thing is, kids respond so much better when there's an element of play involved.
Are there any other strategies that help build these habits?
Oh, absolutely. And this is really crucial. It's all about positive reinforcement, like catching them when they're doing something right and acknowledging it. And another really powerful approach is modeling the behavior yourself. You know, when kids see their parents actively participating and having a positive attitude about housework, it makes such a huge difference.